Are they going to be bringing every Primarch back? That is the question I constantly get asked in the comment sections, during live streams, PMs, over social media. What is going on with the Primarchs? We're starting to see a steady pace of Primarchs returning to the setting. So in this video, I thought we'd talk about the future of the 40k lore, where it's going to, and if the Primarchs are going to be involved majorly in the events, where it's going to end up at. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So by now, you'll know that we've got Mortarion, Magnus, Guilliman, and soon to be Angron. So that is 4 Primarchs return to the setting. 1 is a loyalist. 3 others, of course, are serving the powers of the warp, the powers of chaos, even though that some of them have their own plans. If you've read the Dark Imperium series with Mortarion there, Mortarion does some things that displeases Nurgle, and he suffers the consequences. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you read the book series, if you couldn't read it, you'll understand why. Magnus, at this point in time, I'm literally lost of, like, what is he doing? I know he took his revenge on Fenris, did some stuff, burn it all and stuff like that, and he's just done nothing bar that, right? I don't know, help me out here. Magnus players, Thousand Sun players, what's your demonic Primarch been doing? Is he just back on, you know, his sorcerer world, licking his, you know, Magnus wounds? Angron is probably going to be the most interesting one, because Angron literally gives not a damn in the world, and he is just going to be unleashed on a planet, I think, or a sector, subsector, a part of space, and it's just going to be blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. He's just got to go there, kill, maim, and just unleash carnage, basically, on a scale that we haven't seen in, you know, hundreds of years. And the Grey Knights are probably going to be sent there. They're going to be doing all that. But the really interesting stuff is the Primarchs that haven't returned yet, to theorize how they would fit in, who's it going to be, and how is it going to affect that story now going forward. Now, I'm going to keep this segment of the video a little bit short and sweet, because I may have spoken about it before, okay? So the Lion is apparently returning to 40k as a model. Apparently it's going to be coming right at the end of 9th edition. It's going to be like a big cliffhanger ending, and then we bump over to 10th edition, etc, etc, etc. Now, him coming back to the setting is a very, very spicy one, I personally think. I know we've had this debate, like, which Primarch would you want back from the Loyalist side? You know, Jagatai Khan, Ferrus Manus. No, well, not Ferrus Manus. He's got a bit of a bad headache at the moment. Vulcan, I meant. Vulcan, Rogel Dawn, Corax, you know, some of the options that we've spoken about. And I've always said, as much as I love Rogel Dawn, and I would love him to return to the setting, for me, I think the Lion is probably the most interesting and best choice because of the narrative stories that it opens up. You actually can have then a bunch of stuff happen with the Lion. For people who have read the Lion, I'm sure you've read it, the Primarch books, him in the Horus Heresy during the Great Crusade. Let's just say he's very, very difficult to work with. Okay, you know, he has his own thoughts, he has his own ways to do it, and if he doesn't get his own way, he normally smacks someone's head off their shoulders, because that's what the Lion does. So when it comes to him waking up in Warhammer 40,000 and seeing what's taken place, because don't forget, the last time the Lion saw anything was when he basically went back to Caliban. He's just seen his father die, his father's dreams die. He's fought with his brothers over on Terra. The Codex Compliant is all about to happen. He heads back to Caliban, and then he learns that half of his sons have turned against him. His teacher, his basic father figure, has turned against him, accepted some ruinous powers of chaos. He goes down, he fights, and next thing you know, he wakes up and it's Warhammer 40,000, and he's seeing all these big changes now. Like, you know, there's a whole religion dedicated to the Emperor. In a way, it's dedicated now to the sons of the Emperor. In a way, Guilliman is a divine being, and this whole thing about divinity and the power that it's giving Guilliman to use now on the battlefield. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable with this, but the enemy of my enemy kinda is my friend. So he's using the Imperial Church. How's the Lion going to react to that? Is the Lion going to use it that way, or is the Lion going to say, no, stop doing that, that is not the way father wanted this? So you bring this whole other dynamic now, because the Lion won't go down Gilliman's road. He'll go down his own road, and that is going to bring up some very, very good conversations and good conflicts within the inner Imperium. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get a civil war. To be fair, I'm kind of tired of civil wars in the Imperium at this moment in time. If Games Workshop go down the road of having another civil war, I think I'm going to be kind of disappointed. We're literally coming out of the biggest civil war, the Horus Heresy, the Siege of Terror. It's about to finish. I think this time next year, it will be finished, and we'll probably move on to the next book series, which is probably going to be the Scouring, to be perfectly fair with you. So if they redo that and go, okay, it's time for another civil war, Lionel Johnson versus Gilliman, Electric Boogaloo ×2, I think it would just be a cheap shot. So I'm hoping they go down a different approach. Maybe the Lion can start crusading in the north parts of the Imperium. I call it the north parts because I can never say Imperium Nifilus. I'm sorry, I butcher the word every time. I'm sure you're going to call me out in the comment section as you normally do. You can't talk, Valrak. I'm saying it in Gothic, right? That's my excuse. What's your excuse? Where was I? Yeah, so Lion going crusading in the north bits, trying to take back planet after planet, and Gilliman maybe then goes to Terra and be's more of the diplomat, trying to sort out all the paperwork and the bureaucracy and stuff like that, because we know the Imperium is just full of just like big walls where you can hit your head against, because it's just, nope, you can't do that, nope, you can't do that, nope, you can't do that. So you've got a Primarch in charge who is basically designed to be that statesman. Maybe the Imperium can kick it up a gear and actually start doing stuff and getting fleets out there and troops, vehicles, and get the war machine turning again, so we can actually bring more of the fight to the enemies of mankind. Now, ignoring the end of 9th edition and the Lion and going actually into 10th edition, I guarantee, if I'm wrong, then I'll close down the channel. Maybe Games Workshop is not going to release anything now, and so my channel closes down. I think the logical step is to bring back another traitor Primarch in 10th edition. So far, if you look at the business plan, right, just take all your fandom out of this, take all your, your rose-tinted Rogel Dawn glasses off, and just look at this from a business perspective. If you look, we've had the Death Guard Codex with a bunch of Death Guard, brand new Death Guard range, fully refreshed, right? We've had the Thousand Sun Codex with the Thousand Suns redone. Each of those got their Primarch, you got Mortarion, you got Magnus, right? We're about to get the World Eater Codex. They're going to be fully refreshed. New Berserkers, new HQs, there's some more stuff that's not been shown off yet. They also got their Primarch. Angron's going to be coming out as well. So for me, the logical choice is now going to be Slaanesh. We've had Nurgle, we've had Tzeentch, and now we've just had, or we're about to get, Khorne. So the next logical step has to be Slaanesh. And of course, when you look at Slaanesh and what is with and connected to Slaanesh, it's the Emperor's Children. So I personally think we are going to get a big, massive range refresh during 10th edition. And when they get that, their Primarch is also going to return. There's actually hints already out there. I think it's in the Gathering Storm books. This is going way back. This is like, pre-8th edition, if I'm not mistaken, where there's a giant serpentine figure that is literally butchering planets, and it's all been like retconned by the Inquisition and stuff like that. So they've dropped the little breadcrumbs there, by the way, for the story. Oh, and by the way, when I mentioned the story, I forgot to mention probably one of the biggest changes at Games Workshop is that we actually now have like a new lead story writer. I don't know the person who previously left. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, so forgive me, but I know the new writer, and he's called Wade. You probably know Wade. He's been on Warhammer TV. He used to do all the narrative stuff. I say narrative, the lore videos, if I'm not mistaken, over on Warhammer Plus. Please, again, correct me if I'm wrong. He is now the new lead writer for Games Workshop. And for people who don't know, right, this is how it works at Games Workshop. Games Workshop design a model, and then it's up to the writers then to write it into the lore. It's not the other way around. The writers don't make a character in their head and they give it to the model design department. It's models first and then lore, because for those of you who don't know, Games Workshop is a model company. They're not a lore-making company. So I'm actually pleased that Wade has got that position. I know he's a massive, massive fan of Warhammer 40,000. I know he's been there for a long, long time. If I'm not mistaken, he's also a huge World Eater fan, which makes him even more cooler because I'm a World Eater fan as well. And hopefully he can bring some more Angronness raging to the galaxy. But let's put that aside for a second. Let's jump back to the subject of Fulgrim, Slaanesh, and their initial, or should I say, their incoming to the story itself. Because it all makes sense then. You've got 2 Loyalist Primarchs coming back. This is, if the Lion does come back, I am 110% convinced that it is happening, so this is why I'm talking like he's already returned. And then you have, you know, the next god-aligned demonic Primarch to return, which is Fulgrim. Fulgrim's got to have, you know, the big snake body, all the arms and stuff like that. You got to have probably new Noise Marines. You're probably going to get new characters like Lucius the Eternal, probably remade. Eidolon may get a 40k model. Eidolon's still around, if I'm not mistaken. You probably get some new units, you know, new fancy units, more new stuff added to the setting itself. So when that happens, I think it's going to be big. I think we're all going to be excited. When's it going to happen? Probably not at the start of 10th. It's probably going to be towards the end of 10th, I would predict, just like what we've got with Angron now on the World Eaters being more or less at the end of 9th edition. But for me, it is happening. It's not like, is it going to happen? It is happening. It's just a matter of when rather than if. But the next thing after that is, where do we go from then? What is the next big thing to happen? I know I'm probably counting my eggs before I've even got a chicken, but where do we go from then? Because it really is anyone's guess who comes next. You could probably do maybe something like Corax comes back, and, you know, if Corax comes back, does that mean Lorgar's coming back? Because, you know, Corax and Lorgar have this warp beef going on at the moment. For those of you who've read, like, you know, Batman Corax turn into like warp monsters to hunt down Lorgar in the warp. You could have Perturabo come back. That's an interesting one. There's a lot of talk at the moment if they're going to retcon Perturabo not becoming a Demon Primarch. He's definitely going to become a Demon Primarch because he's weak. He's very, very weak, and he'll have to take the power of chaos to overcome that weakness. Plus, how the hell do you make a planet-sized pillow, right, without the powers of chaos? So he has to become a Chaos Primarch. And if you have Perturabo coming back, that must mean that, you know, maybe you can have Dawn coming back in that setting as well. Dawn and Perturabo going at each other again. And it brings up the whole situation, where's Dawn been? I've got a theory where Dawn's been. We'll go into that another time because it's great. And I think it works. And I think GW should use it. Who else can we have? Vulcan. Vulcan can't die. Let's face it, right? Vulcan cannot die. Vulcan is always going to be around. He's probably somewhere right now wondering what the hell's going on, just keeping himself to himself. People like Jagatai Khan. If you bring Jagatai Khan back, who else can you bring back? I'm not too sure. There's maybe just some clones will come back or something. Alferis, you know, Alferis, Omegon, who the hell's alive? We don't know. Who did Dawn kill? Did Gilliman kill one of them? We have no idea. There's so many opportunities to bring them back. What I will say, and what my argument is that we'll probably see more Traitor Primarchs come back than Loyalist Primarchs. The reason is, right, when you bring a Traitor Primarch back, the story is it's Chaos unleashing another Traitor Primarch, they're taking over the world, it's for their god-aligned, you know, objectives, etc., etc. The story really flows better when you bring a Traitor Primarch back, because they're there to kill, burn, that's it, right? When you bring a Loyalist Primarch back into the setting, they then have to basically sliver in to the story of the Imperium. They have to fit that block back into the system. Are they going to get that block back into the system? Do they want to go back into the system? There's a lot more that goes with bringing a Loyalist back than there is a Traitor back. And this is why I always say, you know, Traitors make more sense coming back rather than Loyalists. Of course, I want all the Loyalists to come back. There's also the actual debate, and maybe we should have started with this, to be fair, is do you want the Primarchs to come back in Warhammer 40,000? There's a lot of, well, I say a lot of people, there's a majority of people, like there's, you know, there's always is, that don't like Primarchs back in Warhammer 40,000. They think that they were mythical beings of an era, long lost, long gone, and they should have stayed in that era. What I will say towards that is that Primarchs make a lot of money, and Games Workshop, surprise or not, loves money. They like the dollar bills, y'all, right? So when you bring Primarchs back, it brings in a lot of bank to Games Workshop. So probably that's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, they're bringing Primarchs back in the 40k setting, because they just sell so fantastically well. If I'm not mistaken, when they brought Mortarion back, I think it was the best-selling model for like 3 years in a row. Everyone was just buying Mortarion. Just Mortarion, you know, like the painters loved it because, you know, it's a fancy model. You know, Chaos players loved it because it's Death Guard and they were ridiculously broken on the tabletop. So you had people like Mikey, like buying 5 of them. Sorry, Micah. But yeah, you know, it sold fantastically well. And I think if they bring the Lion back, when the Lion comes back, that'll sell fantastically well, etc. And just, you know, keep going onwards. Fulgrim, he'll sell fantastically well, you know. It'll just bloody keep happening. But yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts on that one. Do you want the Primarchs to come back? Are you happy with them coming back in the way they're coming back? Or would you just prefer it no more Primarchs? Let's just kill Gilliman. Let's banish Mortarion. Let's banish, you know, Angron. Let's, you know, banish Magnus. Let's get rid of him, and maybe someone else can lead the Imperium. Maybe it's time for Valrak to step up and start leading the Imperium, since he was the favourite son of Rogel Dawn. Anyway, that is enough waffling from me. I don't even know how long this video is. It's like nearly 12-30 minutes of me just talking Primarchs. There's so much stuff to talk about with Primarchs. There really is. Where do we go from here? I love it. I love Primarchs. I think they will keep coming back. I think they're going to be a major thing now in 40k going forward, in both the editions that we're going to get, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th edition, etc. I think they just sell so well. It's just GW's basically, you know, free cash cow, as I say. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Give me your thoughts, feedback, everything like that down below in the comment section, and we can have a nice little talk down there as we always do. See you now, have a great day, and bye-bye. Bye.